people ask me, and I say to them, I'm a professional salesperson. And there's a big difference between a professional salesperson and someone that just wants to give it a go.
You're watching the Hersh Condos digital experience. And here's your host, Mitch Parker.
Welcome to episode 8 of the Hersh Condos digital experience. I am your host, Mitch Parker. On today's episode, we are calling this one From Good to Great, the inner workings of a great salesperson. I am sitting here with the amazing senior staff at Hersh Condos. This is Hersh, Susan, and Kelly, and we are going to be telling you what it takes to be a great salesperson. So Kelly, why don't you start us off? What do you think is the number one quality about, or that it takes to become a great salesperson?
I would say my number one quality for all great salespeople is showing up. There's a famous quote by Woody Allen, and he says, 80% of success is just by showing up. And my advice to anyone who's listening or watching us is, once you've set your goals and you're clear on them, you need to show up and start making them happen. Get organized, build a business plan, make it happen, show up every day.
And once you do have that plan and you start showing up, the world almost goes out of its way to help your plan come into fruition.
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
Hersh, number one.
Number one. One of the greatest tips I can share with you is knowing the answers, to the questions you're going to be asked. And here, nothing works better than statistics. So, over my 29 years, there has never been a year where I have not been asked, don't you think the market's going to crash? And I think everybody, has heard that question. But here's the undisputable answer to that question where people look at me and go, wow, thanks for that answer. There is approximately 260,000 people that move to Canada every year. You can check that out on Stats Canada. And out of that 260,000 people, there's about just under 140,000 that come to the GTA. Out of that 140,000, there's approximately 37,000 that come into the city of Toronto itself. Now, when you take a look at how many suites or homes are being built within a year, we can't build enough pieces or properties to actually suffice the amount of people that are coming into Canada. So do I think there's going to be a lull in the marketplace? No. Statistics tell me that it's not. What do you think?
That's great. Great advice. Susan, what's your number one tip?
I think my number one sales tip would be understanding your buyer. So let's say you sent out any type of marketing material for one of our pre-construction condos and a call comes in. You want to be able to answer a question or ask them a question such as, are you an investor or are you looking for something to live in? You want to ask questions, so how long have you been looking at investment condos? How many do you own? Those are the types of questions, and it takes you along to what you need. And the best of all would be, if I can make this happen for you today, how would you feel about that? Or would you be interested?
Yeah,
That's
that's
amazing.
great.
Say, right?
That's an amazing point.
A good hook at the end, right?
Yeah.
You have to have a hook.
I think I'm going to go with my number one number one quality is to be successful, you really have to pick a niche as this. And I'll use a personal story. So when I first started selling real estate years ago, I was originally selling in Ottawa. And Ottawa was a small enough city where you could do all different facets of real estate. Like I did residential leases, I sold 2 churches while I was there, I did condos, I did everything. And when I moved to Toronto, I think I quickly realized that you were not able to go sell a place in Burlington and then go out to like Scarborough and sell a house and then go to a condo north of the city. So you had to pick one thing and become really, really good at it. And I don't know if it was moving to Toronto or probably just improving my business as well, that when you start to pick one niche and really focus on it, you're seen as the expert. Mm-hmm. And so by being seen as the expert, then you become the go-to source. For when people think of pre-construction condos, they're going to think Mitch Parker. Mm-hmm. I think that's my number one.
That's a great one. That's really good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So let's keep moving it along. Kelly, I know you had a number of great answers when we were talking about this one. So let's jump right into the next point.
My next point is going to be, don't be afraid to fail. The first step in not being afraid to fail is recognizing that failure is actually healthy. That's a big part of it. And my advice is the next time you go out and fail, don't just take it as a failure. Take it as a learning experience, get up, and go on to the next. That's really the most important thing.
I couldn't agree with that
Yeah.
point more. And it's, I know you love the quotes, and I think I heard it. I don't know who said it, but it was something along the lines of like, it's only a true failure if you didn't gain any lessons from it.
100%.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, it might have been Jay-Z.
Was
Might
that
have been Jay-Z.
one of my faves?
Hey, Suze. Why don't you tell us another one?
Well, I love being on the phones, and I think communication skills are extremely important because clients are going to call you or you're going to call them back. And you have to have a positive energy about you, and that has to come out in your voice. For example, you can say when somebody calls after the hellos, "I am so glad you called." And you start the conversation from that. It'll go so much further.
On what you said there, one action item that somebody can put in place right away is next time you're on a call, smile. And by actually smiling when you're talking on the phone, that energy translates into your voice and the tone that you're using, and the person on the other end can actually get that vibe from you. There's actually scientific research behind that. I think part of being a great salesperson is knowing how to negotiate really, really well. I'm a huge fan of audiobooks, and the one that I'm listening to right now is called Never Split the Difference by the author's Chris Voss, but he was actually an FBI agent, a hostage negotiator for years and years, and this guy dealt with like terrorists and kidnappers and all this. So he just shares a wealth of knowledge, and I think it's worth it for anybody to go pick up the book if you like reading, the audiobook if you like listening. It's going to give you some great insights on how to become a great negotiator, which is, it's only going to make you better.
Another key factor for being a great salesperson is constantly, school is never out at the end of the day. When you get your real estate license, that's one thing. But when you want to be an industry expert and speak like a pro, you have to know your numbers. You have to stay current with what's happening. A great book is The Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller. And he interviews 100 agents who have netted $1 million in a year. And I would recommend this book to any agent out there who hasn't read it. It is a blueprint for a successful business.
It's amazing. And this podcast is actually coming out at the ideal time, or this video is coming out at the ideal time, because we're going to have a little bit of downtime because it's, jumping into December and January now. And I think that this is great. So I've recommended a book and you've recommended a book.
Yes. So
head to Chapters or Indigo and pick this stuff up. And it's, you can come back in January even better than you were in 2019. You're very passionate about sales in general, right? And you love selling.
Well, I spent a lifetime already, I'm going to say this, at selling. And one of the things that I've learned over the years that makes a great salesperson is understanding that to be a great salesperson, it's a profession. In other words, it's not maybe you're okay at it. It's not, oh, I sell this or I sell that. That's not where the great ones are. That's not how I, for instance, see myself. People ask me, and I say to them, I'm a professional salesperson. And there's a big difference between a professional salesperson and someone that just wants to give it a go. Right? I'm utterly passionate about it. I love it. I think it's a thrill. And the reality is, the more you practice and the better you get, the better you're going to love what you do, because it actually becomes easier. How about you, Mitch? You have another one for us? Another little jewel?
Meeting with experts. So not reinventing the wheel yourself, but leveraging off of people that have already done it before.
It's quicker.
It's a lot faster and a lot less stressful and a lot less painful. But if somebody's thinking, And they should, if somebody's going to reach out to somebody. And there's more methods now than there always has been, right?
No, for sure.
Before, you were kind of stuck phoning them and hoping you got a call back. Now you can send them a message on social media, email, you can text them, you can phone them. Right. So I would even say, like, today, reach out to a few people that you've been wanting to meet with. But when you reach out to them, you have to approach it from, how can I provide value to that person? What you'll find is these people are happy to share their lessons. I mean, I love meeting up with these, if it's a new agent or someone just getting into pre-construction, and sort of formulating a plan that will help them. And I know that likewise for yourself, you always share knowledge with people.
Yep. And I'm not afraid to ask people also, okay, the question of how did you do that?
Right.
Right?
Yeah, that's great.
What makes a great salesperson is someone who is able to take advice, good advice from somebody they want to be like, and actually just do it. Not ask questions, not try to do it a different way because maybe that's a more comfortable way for that person. Is just simply they're able to open their ears, listen, take the advice, and do exactly what that person says. That's the magic behind all of it. People have done it before you. People who you would like to be like, who are successful, and you respect them, they're giving it to you. And all you have to do is take it, run with it. Don't ask questions, just do the work, and it happens.
Because you know the story best, sorry to cut you off, but because you know the story best, and I think this ties really well in, I want you to tell the story of, you're going to know which agent I'm talking about. The one who had his license for 2 or 3 months, and he came to one of your seminars, and he listened to what he did. And I want you to tell the story of how he did it, but also where he is now.
So here's what makes a great salesperson great, and it is Kelly's answer. The ability to listen and not think, just do. And in actual fact, that person had their license for 48 hours, interesting enough, which is even better. And they came to the seminar, and we explained exactly what to do, which we do many times. And you can see the difference between people that can take the advice and not think, right, and just put it into action, to those that want to sort of change it around. And what ended up happening was he actually sold 11 condos, okay, in about a week after we had the seminar, because that's when the sale date was. And
that's in one day, just so everybody's clear. He sold 11 condos in one day.
It was well over $100,000 in commission. And this is somebody that had their license for 48 hours, who today has become one of the most successful people in the real estate industry. And there's the reality of just don't think. If someone is showing you how to do it, just go do it and duplicate what they're saying. And that's really one of the greatest keys to being a great salesperson.
Yeah. I also think it's important to plan ahead. And one of the great things that Hersh does is always, as the team leader, more or less, we're always planning ahead, right? So we don't go into 2020 and stand around not knowing. There's already a plan of action that's taken place. And I believe that's what makes somebody great too. It's not in the moment. You're just forecasting out all the time, so you know what's going on.
I am going to finish this off, which is a quote that I think matches this episode really, really well. And it's one that's hanging on the wall in the gym that I go to. This says, "It doesn't get easier, you just get better."
Oh, that's so true, Mitch.
And I think it's a line that we can all take, and is a great spot to end this episode with. This has been episode 8 of the Hersh Condos Digital Experience. I'm your host, Mitch Parker. If you liked this episode, please share the love, tap the like button, comment, tell us what you thought, tell your friends, follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have an awesome day.
Thanks for watching the Hersh Condos Digital Experience. Stay tuned for more exciting content, subscribe to our channel, and make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms.